Hey everybody, this is Winston. I hope you're doing well. I'm about to have a great conversation with brother Rodney Damon Collins. He is an amazing creator from out in LA. He is so phenomenal. I just got off of his IG live, so if you want to go to Rodney Damon Collins on IG, you can hear that. And then obviously his podcast is RDC Speak Life Sessions, so he will be on that as well. So look for that. I tell you, it's been a great time. So here we go. I got Rodney. He has joined us. Waiting for Rodney to join.
What's up?
There he is. There is my brother Rodney Damon Collins. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. I'm glad we're keeping this party going.
That's right. It is so cool to have you. The time you and I just spent is amazing. So I am so. Oh, thanks. It looks like Fabian joined us over here. So great to see you, brother. So I
That's
appreciate
right.
that.
Thanks for staying with us.
That's right. So, hey, I tell you, you asked me a question. I'm just going to jump right in and then I'm going to allow you to really talk about who you are a little bit. But you asked me a question to kick us off a few minutes ago, and that was about the Atlanta scene. So, tell us about LA right now with all the things that's going on, all the social things, all of the coronavirus things that are happening. Tell us about that.
It's real out here right now in LA because we're seeing a huge spike in coronavirus cases. I think a lot of it stems from the protests that were taking place out here several weeks ago when you had thousands of people congregating. It was bound to happen. So I think we're seeing a result of that. I also think we're seeing a result of people being completely irresponsible too.
Yeah.
We have people who are just treating coronavirus as if it's a hoax. They don't believe it really exists. I know a number of people who have dealt with it. I know a 23-year-old woman who has passed away from COVID. So
Oh, my God.
23. So
Oh,
so when people talk about that and call it a hoax, I'm like, this is not a hoax. I don't care what you think. And I'm glad, I wish they showed more the stats showing the people who are surviving COVID. So that would help people be more encouraged because it is frightening. If you see every single day, you got so many cases. Like yesterday, California had, the whole state had 11,000 cases in this. Just broke, I guess we just broke a record. It's not a record to be proud of, but we just broke that. But it's scary because that's all you hear is about cases, and you talk about people dying. You never hear about who is surviving. So
yeah.
I think we need to get the full story just so we can be encouraged to know that, okay, if I do get this is not a complete death sentence. And
Yeah.
that's what it makes it feel like. And we know the stats are majority of people are surviving this, but I don't care what anybody says. I don't want it. I don't want you to get it. I don't want anybody I know. I don't want anybody to get this. So I take it
Yeah.
very serious. And we're looking at being put on lockdown again. We're looking at
Yeah.
that. But the lockdown wasn't bad because it was good for me. I spent a lot of time writing. I filmed a couple projects during that time. And honestly, in the past 25 years, I haven't had this much time to slow down in forever. So I was like, in a way, I don't mind it because
Yeah.
I've actually felt my stress levels go down
Oh
by
my
not
God.
having to
Really?
rush. Yeah.
Wow, your stress levels. You're that's so interesting. I had a situation that I thought was an interesting silver lining. We've been trying to coordinate a family reunion from Jamaica for 15 years. Oh, I just had a limit. You're there? So I was talking about a family
Yep.
reunion that we were trying to coordinate. And so we had that family reunion on Zoom with people from England, Jamaica, Toronto, all over the United States, and we were finally able to coordinate it. So we would probably never done it if this thing didn't happen. We still would have been trying to find a spot. Um, Not to say that it's not horrible. I tell you, every day I feel bad, and I hate feeling bad. And it's not because I feel bad just because of the coronavirus itself. I just feel
Yeah.
bad because of our response to it. I just feel that that just doesn't need to happen. So tell us about yourself, man. You are such an accomplished actor. You're SAG, AFTRA. I've seen some of your stuff. You are like an action hero. You got lots of you got lots of stuff. I was like, oh my God, this brother is for real. You know, I was like, tell us a little bit about your acting life and how that goes for you.
Oh man, well, I love it. I've always loved the arts ever since I was young. When I wrote my first sketch comedy when I was a senior in high school.
Really?
Yeah, when I was a senior in high school, I wrote my first sketch comedy, and it was basically like a parody of, during that time, the Arsenio Hall show. You know, everybody knows that show used to be, you know, popping back in the day. That was the show. So I wrote a sketch comedy based off of that. When I got to college, I pursued the arts kind of low scale because I was first generation college. And my family, I wasn't coming home to my mom and dad and say, yo, I'm a theater major now. So they can be like losing their mind. They were like, no, you go to school to get a job. That's, you know, I was like,
And you're from Ohio, right? Cleveland,
yes.
if I'm right? Yes.
Yeah, I grew up in a smaller town, Toledo, Ohio. Then when I graduated from college, I ended up moving to Cleveland. I lived in Cleveland for 20 years.
Oh, cool.
So, but during that time, I stayed involved with the arts. I kept dabbling with it, did some modeling, some big campaigns. And then when I got to Cleveland, I got involved with the indie scene in Cleveland. And I wound up getting a role in a play called Good Grief. He's Gonna Kill Me, man. Philly Wheaton is the director of the play. Oh my goodness. My soulmate. Good grief. But and it was done at the incredible Playhouse Theater in Cleveland, Ohio, which I think is the third or fourth largest theater district in the country. So it was incredible.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Incredible amount of theater takes place in Cleveland.
Wow.
You have Karamu House, Playhouse Square. That whole area is just loaded with talent. And I remember when I was going to do the play, this is a lesson, a nugget for everybody. I didn't have a role initially in this play. I got a role. Well, I got a role as an understudy because I came in so late to the casting that it was just an opportunity for me to be a part of the project. Nearly to the end of the play, the person who was supposed to play the doctor, which I like playing the doctor. I'm a pretty good doctor. So he had to drop out of the play for other commitments. So the director was like, hey, man, you know the lines, you know the role. I'm offering it to you. I was like, really? So I was like, of course I'm going to take it. This is an opportunity for me. I don't turn down any opportunity. But I started out with the intention just to help the project. I didn't ask for any money. I wanted to help that director bring their vision to pass. That was my heart as an actor, was to support that project. And I remember once I got the role in the night of the show, going to seeing my name on the dressing room door, I was like, I got chills again right now just thinking about that, because I was like, this is my dream coming to fruition right now. This is the level I saw myself being on. And so it was just very exciting to be there at that point. And then shortly after that, received the opportunity to move to this wonderful metropolis, Los Angeles here, which I envisioned myself living in LA ever since I was a kid. And to get the opportunity to move here was, to me, an incredible blessing. I think God.
You just packed up and moved based on this opportunity? Just the whole family?
Well, it was a job. It was a job opportunity. So yeah, so I definitely moved to put like this. Move to LA. You better make sure you got some plans, some money in the bank or something, because LA will crack your skull real quick.
Wow.
But what's crazy is that the job that brought me out here, less than 6 months, they laid me off. That dreaded layoff. And I was like, I had never been laid off in my life.
I'm familiar with that. Where you're doing well, and then all of a sudden you just get a thing, and you know.
Like, hey, and they basically were like, we brought you out here for this role. Budgeting has gone differently. Is it possible we can look at you for a different job? It was much less pay. And I'm like, you know what? My son and daughter are older now. Wife is cool. I was like, you know what? After talking with her, I was like, nah, man, I don't want to take a lower paying job. I paid my dues. I worked in corporate America 20 years. I was like, no, I'm gone. I'm out. Because it was either take the layoff or take the much lower paying job and deal with the same expectations. I was like, no more. So I decided to bet on me. I decided to bet on me. I put everything in, everything. I went all in on me, knowing that I had the ability to work hard, to build relationships, to trust God, to get up every day and grind. So I did it. And getting in the LA market was hard at first because you do have to know some people out here. I'm pretty sure Atlanta is similar too.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
You got to have connections. So I had to humble myself, and I started doing background for a year. Now, I tell anybody, if you desire to be a principal actor, don't do background for no more than a year. After that, you got to find another way to support yourself. I did background with the intention of meeting people in the industry.
So why a year? Why a year? Is it like you feel you'll be kind of a typecast, or maybe I'll put in that?
Well, you can get stuck. You can get stuck. Once you get your SAG card and you're doing background work, you can get stuck because you're making pretty good money. And so, but you want to come every day, you start treating it like just a regular job because you get fed on set, you show up, you film it, you do your little background scene, you be the wallpaper for the scene, because that's what background you are not to be, really seen. And you'll get stuck though because you're checked, you get your bills paid, you start getting comfortable. That dreaded word, comfort. Comfort is the enemy of all progression. Comfort will stop you from moving forward. You can't be comfortable and move forward.
There's no doubt about it.
So I let it go. And I did it for 1 year. That's all the advice I got from everyone I talked to. But I met so many directors. I met other creatives who had the same mindset as me. Like, hey, I'm just here trying to figure out the landscape. I'm getting out of this real soon. I'm like, yo, I'm right with you on that. And before you know it, I just remember one of my most memorable experiences when I did background work was meeting Kerry Washington and Angela Bassett.
I think you shared that with me. I think you told me about that. Yeah.
It blew me away. Working Scandal several years ago, and I wound up standing. They told me to stand in a place. And it was like, don't move, because that's all background. It's like, you're not supposed to move, don't talk, don't breathe. I'm standing there, and I'm looking around, and that's, I see, a few people parading out. I'm like, well, who's coming down the hallway? Kerry Washington pops out. I'm like, oh, wow. I was like, well, wonder where she's going.
Wow.
She walks and stops right next to me. I'm like, whoa. I was like,
wow. That's awesome.
But she was so sweet. And she just said, hello, how are you doing? I was like, I'm doing well. I was like, I think I'm good. And so while we're waiting to shoot the scene, I was just watching her, and she was just really getting herself into full character. I was like, okay, this is how you do it. So, you go there to learn. The next, they said, we have director coming out, Angela Bassett just walks out because she was directing that episode.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm looking like, whoa. I was like, one, I've always loved her. She's not auntie to me. I was like, Angela Bassett, I love your work. I love
What a beautiful day, man. Dang, this is great.
It blew me away, to see these two icons in the same place. And she was like, how you doing, Sugar? I was like, she called me Sugar.
I can die now. That's it.
But it was just the love. But what I did is I paid close attention to everyone on set. Yeah. And then I remember we took a break from shooting, and I went outside and standing by the trailers. And this is something that I made a practice every time I walked on a set to do background. I would stop and I would actually start praying and thanking God for my trailer with my name on it, my roles.
Wow,
these sets.
That's phenomenal.
So I would just stop and do it. And then when I got done praying, I turned around, Joe Morgan's walking out his trailer. And I was like, and I know he heard me because he came up and he shook my hand and said, you're going to be all right, man. And he just kept walking on. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, I wonder if he heard me. But the whole thing was the vision. I went there. I did background with an intention. Just like I said, it was a purpose to what I was doing. So I got in there. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to get opportunities. I wanted to develop the right mindset when it comes to working on a network TV film, level type set. And that catapulted me. Before you know it, I met an executive director on one of the sets. She ended up inviting me to go shoot a film, an indie film that was taking place at Castaways Restaurant in Burbank, which they should give me some money for even mentioning them right now.
Castaways is it a good restaurant?
It's a good restaurant. It's
Okay.
beautiful. It's high. It overlooks all of LA. Great food.
Yeah. I'm just asking you that so I can get some checks from them too, so I can get a little bit of check.
Hey, when you come out, we go to Castaways and hang out and have a meet. You know, it's good.
I am so ready for that, brother.
It's great, man. But I remember going to set that day when I was invited to come. She was like, "It's non-paid. We're going to give you, IMDb credit, but we didn't have the budget to pay an additional person." I was like, "Man, I'm just glad that you thought of me." So I got there. I treated it like I was a principal actor, because you have to walk in that before you get it. So I showed up to set, and I was like dressed and ready to go. And I had beat production. I beat the crew and everybody there. They was just like, they pulled up. It's like, "How long you been here?" I was like, "I got about 30 minutes. I was like, "Hey, I'm never late for work. Never late." And I was like, on time is late. So I'm going to be here ready to go. We started doing the scene that I was brought in for. Within about 45 minutes, they stopped production. Executive producer came over to me, like, "Rodney, how do you feel about having some lines?" I was like, "I'm an actor. I act." I was like,
how do you feel?
I was like, "I'm an actor." So I was like, "No problem." And they was like, "Yeah, we're also going to have you sign a contract because we're going to pay you now for this." I was like, "You going to pay me?" I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "I have no problem with that." I didn't even care what the role, I had to say a couple words. All I know is that it catapulted me once again, because I want to serve somebody else's project with the right intention.
Isn't that such an important thing? I tell people all the time that service is such a key component of our lives, and sometimes we act like I got to get something first.
Yeah.
Like, for example, with the Creativity Cocktail last year, I decided the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, which I mentioned is one of the biggest festivals in the world. I asked the lady, like, "Hey, I want to help you and the festival by having you on the podcast."
Mm-hmm.
So then she turns around and invites me to come do a live show of the Creativity Cocktail at the festival.
Oh, wow.
Just because I gave her first. I said, "What do you need first?"
Yes.
Before I said, "This is what I need."
Yes.
So, I mean, you are right on there. It's so amazing. What are you up to now? Tell us what's going on with you now. What you up to these days?
Oh, okay. Well,
besides RDC Speak Live sessions, which is amazing. What's going on?
Well, I'll say real quick. In the past 4.5 years, I've watched my resume grow from just one film credit with moving here to over 28 as a principal or supporting actor on several projects. I've been on network TV. I'm on an Amazon TV show that's still streaming now called Chosen Kin Origins. It was created by
Chosen Kin, Kin.
Yes, Chosen Kin Origins, and my character is Dr. Watson. So, but it's a superhero show. So that show was on Amazon, still streaming, and
I love superheroes. One of my most popular play was called Super Loser, because it was all about a guy dealing with stuff at a convention.
Well, you never know. We gonna be working together soon, so we need.
There's no doubt.
Might not be done with the superheroes.
That's right. The alignment keeps going, brother. Yeah. So tell us more about that show and everything else you got.
Well, yeah. After that, but I've actually won 2 awards as an actor in a couple projects last year in film festivals. So now I'm an award-winning actor. So I'm very grateful.
Tell us about the awards. Don't go gloss over that. Tell us some awards. What was those?
Well, my friend, once again, a connection, a friend of mine, she was filming a project that she created called The Carding Call. And she was like, "Rodney, I got a role for you." She didn't have money to pay. But this was about, once again, we come together to help each other win.
Yes.
You see the big picture. And so I was like, you know what? It's my girl. I know she works hard. So I'm going to go ahead and support the project. You ain't got to pay me. And we went on. I filmed my scene, which was great. I was allowed to improv my complete character.
Improv is awesome.
I love that when they tell you, this is what the character is. Now you show us who the character is. Now you show it. I was like, I got you. So I painted the picture. And it was submitted to film festivals. It ended up winning Best Acting Ensemble, Best Actors for several film festivals. I think and the film ended up winning like 6 awards so far, and it's still in festivals.
Wow.
So
That's
I'm very
awesome.
grateful for that. And I actually was in a play last year entitled Neighbors that ran for eight days in Hollywood at the Stellar Adler Theater,
Mhm.
which is at the heart of Hollywood. It's on
Oh
Hollywood
yeah,
Boulevard.
yeah, yeah. I'm familiar. Yes, yes. Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing,
So,
man.
and it was amazing because the number of influential people who were in the audience when we did the play, it blew me away. I went out there, we did the play, it was incredible. The NAACP checked out the play, looked at it for possibly nominated for an Image Award. It was amazing. Just and the incredible writer, Cassandra, she is so amazing, man. I got to make sure, Cassandra Saunders, she is so incredible. She's a great writer out here. She's so connected. And once again, that came from, I met Cassandra about 1.5 years before she offered me a role. And she was writing a play. And Oba Babatunde was one of her friends, and he helped oversee our table reads. So,
Ah.
and then John Toles Bay directed the play. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. Well,
Yes.
while we're talking about people, we mentioned it on your podcast, but we want to give her a shout out again, Miss Natalie Fikes, who
Yes.
is an unbelievable inspiration to so many people in the world. That thing I was just telling you about, the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and they invited me over to that. That's
Yes.
when I met Natalie.
Wow.
And I met her that day, and she was doing things there, helping to host certain things. You know, this world is too short for us to not, when we meet people of social influence and of
Yes.
social authenticity, that we should all spend a few moments with them and say, hey, how can I help you? How can I get to know you? Like, really get to know you.
Yes.
You know, people always will come, and maybe this is my New York nature. One time someone came to me and said, well, what do you do? And then I said, well, let me tell you a little about who I am.
Mm.
And they didn't like that exactly. But I was just like, this is who I am. Because I want to know who you are.
Yes.
I don't want to know your job. I don't know your job. We'll figure that out later. I just want to know who you are. And a lot of times when people tell you that, they'll tell you who they really are. What's that passion? And I've heard that on your podcast. A lot of discussion about passion and purpose and how those things all align.
Yes.
And so tell us your thoughts about those things, because I tell you, they are where this world is at today.
Well, you know, I appreciate you bringing that up. And that's the birth of my podcast, which is RDC Speak Life Sessions on Apple. And I think it's on 5 platforms now. And now we're in 6 countries. So I'm very grateful that people are just responding to it. I started it a few months ago, early March, really to encourage people. I didn't know COVID was going to explode to the point that it is now. I just knew that my story, like, about my life, I could use that to help encourage people. But also, I just knew people wanted a platform where they could share what's going on with them and talk about how to really move forward in whatever they want to accomplish in life. And I wanted to give them that platform. So that's what birthed my podcast. And,
Wow.
you know, and I use that because my story is one where I worked for years out of my purpose because it was, you know, paying the bills. And that's, you know, you do need to be able to pay your bills, but it was also taking my life.
Gotcha.
You
I
know,
tell you this, yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah,
This life is too short these days,
yeah,
right? If coronavirus hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us that life is too short.
definitely.
You know, this floating demon, and I think I actually had a line of that in one of my most recent works. This floating demon, I had a hope, and I was naive about this, Rodney, that this floating demon would bring us together.
Mm.
That people would realize that, hey, don't give a rat's about who I am and where I come from. It can transmit to me and to you the same way. You know, the coronavirus is not sitting there figuring out whether I'm black or white or from LA, from Atlanta. They ain't doing none of that.
It don't care. It don't
It's
care.
just floating. And I'm hoping, and I think that the challenges we're going through today is our resistance to what it's trying to teach us.
Yeah.
You know, this real angst about that. So tell me, tell the audience, the Creativity Cocktail people are people who are all creatives just like you and I, and they're trying to find their way. Tell them a little bit about how you feel about this, about how we as creatives today, how we can really help to change our environment and help to bring ourselves together.
Okay, that's a powerful question. One thing you got to do is you got to know who you are, and you talked about that. You got to. Natalie, she asked me a good question. She was like, "In 10 years from now, where do you see yourself?" And I was able to answer that question because I know who I am now, and I think that's so critical. There's a lot of people creatives who step out and just don't know exactly who they are first. So knowing your identity, knowing how your makeup is, what do you like, what gives you passion about life. Those are the things that make up who you are. So you got to know that first and foremost. Secondly, you have to have a heart to serve. An actor or director, our job is to serve the project and serve the audience that's going to view the project. Whether it's to make the audience cry, whether it's to make the audience think, laugh, whatever it's to do to the audience, you got to keep that at the forefront of your mind, that I am here to serve the project. The name of the play or movie, TV show, whatever it is, that takes precedence over me. Because without that project, I don't have a platform. So you got to have a mindset to serve that. No divos and no divas. Get rid of that. No, nobody wants to be around that.
That's right. What was the coin, the term that we made in the last one? Diva-ness?
Diva-ness, yeah. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to deal with that. So I covered that. I was like, you got to know who you are. You got to be a servant. You got to have a passion too. When people ask me about, being an actor, because I get a lot of messages now, which I'm sure you get messages about, hey, I want to be a playwright, I want to do this. And when people ask me, I want to be an actor, I was like, first thing I was telling them is, why do you want to be an actor? Don Cheadle once said, if you want to be famous, then don't act. He basically said you can get famous doing anything. So
that sounds like something he would say. That sounds like something he'd say.
You don't do it to be famous, because
that's right.
That's not the end. That's not the end game. If you ask most of the extremely famous people in the world, would they trade that fame for some privacy in their life, to be able to go to the grocery store, to be able to go to a mall? They would trade that in an instant. I think Michael B. Jordan last year has said his Postmates bill on average monthly was like $2,500 to $3,000 a month.
He's getting everything delivered.
You can't leave the house. Can't leave the house. It's like it's your bank account is swole, but you're a prisoner of your own success. So I'm not saying I wouldn't want a nice bank account. We all want a nice bank account, but we also have to remember that that level of notoriety comes, there's a level of responsibility. Yeah. So remembering the people who helped you get to where you're going. I've always said there will never be a day where I tell somebody I won't take a picture with you. And it blessed me, because I'm in these projects called Darman Films, which have been viewed, I think, like 8 billion times. And several of the films that I played the lead in, the short films, one of them was viewed like almost 300 million times. So
whoa,
yeah. So you're talking about the entire country, pretty much, or there's people all over the world.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was just saying the size of the country.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
You can't get one TV show that has 300 million viewers.
So
that's the power of the internet. But by being on that, I was walking into a 7-Eleven, and this was earlier this year. It made me feel really good. I walked in, and the guy was checking out. He turns, he looks back, does another take. He runs over to me. He's like, "Yo, you're in those Darman videos, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, my mom, we love your work. We love the stories that y'all tell, everything." He was just so excited. He's like, "I gotta call my mom." I was like, "What? Really?" It just blew me away, because I was just incredibly blown, just overwhelmed that somebody would see that and feel like that just because you saw me. I was like, it blessed me. So he was like, "I need to get a picture with you." I was like, "You know what? I need to take a picture with you because this is something I'm going to cherish. I was like, you made my day by recognizing my work and letting me know what it does for you. I was like, man, that's the biggest thing you can ever tell an actor is the impact of their roles and what they do. I was like, took the picture, was just so happy with them, but it just blew me away the fact that this little short that I was doing impacted so many people.
Yeah,
So
you never know, man. You never know, like when you do work, creative work, the ripple. Like when we created the organization as part of this podcast, it's called Rising Tides Charity
yes,
because we believe that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that when we're doing stuff to help other people, I can't get to a journey unless I'm helping somebody else get to that journey.
mm,
And so that story you just shared, where you influenced that person in the 7-Eleven, it sounded, you know, you could say it's a small impact, but it's not.
mm,
It's a profound impact you had on that person. You never know, like the little things that we're subject to and we're used to, how they interact and how they change our lives. We are
yes,
the product of everything that's happened before us. We're living in the present moment, but everything that's happened before us is creating who we are right now.
yes,
And I think you're laughing because I'm sure maybe I'm sounding like what you would say, but it's like saying, we are the present moment, and every little thing that we do as a creator, you never know, like how many people you just mentioned, 300 million people have seen you on some level.
yeah,
I am sure that the first time I saw you, I was like, I know him. When Natalie said the thing over back and forth, I'm telling you in my mind, I was like, I know him. I've seen him before. You have had that influence on so many people you don't even know, man. You don't even know. I feel the same way about writing and the public speaking that I do and all that. I never know who's in the audience.
yes. But
I
somebody's
never know.
coming who needs you.
That's right.
Somebody's coming. They need you to bring the play I was in last year. I had to play a very controversial character, um, completely different than my beliefs, especially politically.
Mm.
After the play, I had a number of people walking up to me telling me they wanted to fight me during the play. I was like, yes, I did my
That
job.
is awesome. That is awesome. I listened to a Zoom reading where someone was doing a play that was very controversial. And there were some people, I think, that had some really intense opinions about it when
Yeah,
it was over. My comment was, because they allowed you to speak it, I was like, what I just witnessed there was art. And the actors broke down because I think they were scared about what the response of the audience would be to their work. But what they did was art.
yeah,
And what you did, that is probably harder than doing something that's pretty simple to do. Doing something that was a little bit more, outside of your boundaries is pretty cool. That's kind of the cool thing I love about creativity. I don't know if
yeah,
you feel the same way, but
yes,
like you get to challenge yourself, man. You get to challenge yourself in ways you don't even know. I put a post somewhere that creativity unleashes our capacity. It just does. So I'm going to ask you a question, and this is a question. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
no
By
problem.
the way, I really do. And all of those who are out there, please make sure that you subscribe to the Creativity Cocktail. Give us a comment. We are on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Facebook, obviously here on IG, YouTube, and VMO, all of these different places. My question to you, Rodney, is a question that I want you to think about it for a moment, and this might be an opportunity to go back and do a little improv.
Okay.
Is that is not you and I? We're not having a conversation. It's you and somebody who's come to you and says, "Hey, Rodney, I was creative, or I want to be creative, but I'm afraid, I'm scared, I don't know where to start.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know what the first thing I should do." And you turn to that person and you're going to give them some guidance. What would that guidance be to that person?
First thing I tell anyone is that what did Nike say? Just do it, baby. Just do it. You have whatever part of the country, part of the world you reside in. If you want to be an an actor, a thespian. You need to find those platforms that offer those opportunities. You can't wait until you move to a bigger market and say, okay, now I'm going to do it. I was like, yeah, wherever you live, find a way to get involved. Zero excuses. I don't allow excuses. Nobody wants to hear them. Either you go be about it or you're not.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I would tell them is just do it. Find a platform in your area wherever you live, because you got to make sure you love this, because it's a lot of work. I love acting. I love stepping into the life of a character that somebody I may never become, but to step in that character's life for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. I love it. It's an escape for me. So you got to really have a passion about that and about storytelling. And you can't be like, well, I'm afraid to do this, I'm afraid to do that, because fear will keep you from doing so many things in this life. Last time I checked, I was like, I'm not afraid to do nothing. My wife will tell everybody, my husband's crazy. He just does it. But I'm just like, man, I've seen too many people. I have a saying. My mantra is leave on E. I want to leave this world completely empty of every God-given gift I have. And I'm not making the cemetery rich by the dreams, the desires that God has given me to do. Too many people put a hold on whatever they want to do because they're waiting for the perfect time.
Waiting for the stars to align themselves, right? They ain't aligning. You align the stars, partner.
Yes. I got friends I know I'm talking to now who be like, man, I'm ready to make the move, but I'm still a little like, I'm kind of concerned about cost of living in LA. I'm like, listen, man, cost of living in LA just makes you work. It makes you get up and get off your butt. So if you're not lazy, you're gonna survive in LA.
That's right.
I was like, you can't let that stuff scare you, and you don't let somebody else's failure impact you. If somebody quit, that's on them. That ain't you. So you don't look at somebody else's life and be like, well, they tried and they stopped. Okay, that's fine. That's them. Get rid of the word try. That's another thing I tell everybody. There's no trying. Either you do or do not do. And I'm quoting my old boy Yoda from Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back. Now he was talking to Luke. And he was talking about, his path, his destiny. And he just corrected him. He said, there's no try. There's either do or do not do.
That is amazing.
If you're trying this, find something else to do. This is a true profession. It is a profession. Right. You have to work at your craft. You have to study. You have to read. You have to practice. If you don't have a role or a current project you're working on, you better have yourself on camera practicing at home, reading scripts, running lines. That's how you get better as an actor. I know I said a whole lot.
No, that was phenomenal. I tell you, acting is one of the oldest professions that exists in this world. And sometimes, I don't know, it might be older officially than writing, technically, because people didn't write. They carved maybe 10,000 years ago. They carved on walls. But, did they write per se? I don't know. They told stories, that's for sure. So whether they were groups in Africa or Europe or wherever they were, there was actors always. It seems to me there was always actors. You are so phenomenal, brother. It's been so great to have you. For those of you who are listening to us today and those of you who will listen to us in the future, we are glad that you have joined us for part 2 of an ongoing conversation we're going to have as time goes on with Mr. Rodney Damon Collins. And I say that because me and you, brother, we working together. There ain't no doubt. It's going to happen.
All right.
And so the audience has got to get prepared for part 3, 4, 5, and 6. Just got to get ready for that. It's on them. So I know that there's going to be some great people who want to follow us on this journey. And for all of you, those of you who are out there, create something now. This moment of time that we are in, regardless of how you're feeling about what's going on and who you're feeling it about, let that go. Create something, whether it's a paint piece of artwork, one brush stroke at a time, whether it's an app where you got to type some code, whether it's a great play where you got to write some lines, whether it's a play where you need to run your lines, just do it, man. Just do it. And don't be fearful. Fear is more powerful than a virus. Fear is the most debilitating thing that exists in our world. And God didn't create you. You see, I use the word create. Didn't create you for not to create. so you create it, you consume it, you create, you consume it, and you create a cycle of dopeness.
Yes.
You just do. So, brother, thanks again. Thank you for being part of this. I'm so honored for you to join the Creativity Cocktail. Last word. So, last word to you that you want to share with the audience. So, we've got an audience who we hope that will listen to every word that you said and say, hey, here's some snippets of what Rodney says or said that I really want to get down with. But you're leaving the audience with something. So what is those last words you want to leave with the audience?
Well, I got two things I want to address. One is The Central Authority is a film I just finished wrapping. We filmed it. It was a quarantine film where we all filmed scenes from our home, and actors from all over the world are involved in that film.
That's awesome.
And it was actually one of the first films that actually started filming during quarantine back in April. So
that's great. I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, it'll be coming out shortly. I play a very comedic character. We were all allowed to improv, which was amazing. It was so much fun. Another thing I want to leave people with is be present. Be present. Each and every moment of life is a gift. So, we can't get caught up in what happened yesterday. It's gone. It's over with. We can't get caught up in what's going to happen tomorrow because I don't know what tomorrow looks like. But right now I have a present moment where I can decide what I want to do with my life. And I need to take advantage of it. The more present you are, the more profitable you will be in the future.
That's awesome, brother. I'm going to listen to that several times my daggone self. That's so amazing. So everybody that's out there, we love you all. You are the human race. Please take care of yourself. Wear your mask. Socially distance, but still love each other and create something. So thanks again, brother. Take care.
All right. We'll talk soon. Love you.
All right.
Peace.
All right. We thank you for joining us today. Remember, God has given you the ability to create abundance and beauty in this world. Every moment is perfect, and you are perfect. Join us on the Creative Circle on Facebook and our Creatives community via our website to receive exclusive productivity and creativity content. We are on all social media platforms and as the Rising Tides Charity. And we hope that you will share with us a bit about who you are and what you're going through. Again, thank you for joining us today on the Creativity Cocktail powered by Rising Tides Charity.